Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are officially in the big leagues. Okay, I've invested in a microphone, so now I have a microphone. I mean, to be honest, I don't really feel like I needed one. I think the mic on the phone was just fine. But since we have one, all right, let's go. I went to go see two movies tonight. Kind of. I basically saw like an hour of Babylon. Now that's what uh this vlog is going to be about. So, man, Babylon is pretty great. It's at least I'm going to go see the rest of it tomorrow, but from what I saw, basically the Maggie girl, she's like a wannabe actress, right? She really wants to be an actress and this is it takes place during a time when I guess like Hollywood was just getting started. And so we aren't really it's definitely well, okay. So the big idea is like there's at least the start of the movie. I don't know. There's still like 2.5 hours that I haven't seen of it, but there's this party that happens. She's not on the guest list for the party. There's a guy. He's like this Spanish guy, and he's like a worker for the party. He's basically like the guy who's throwing the party, like his assistant. So he just like goes around and does shit to get ready for the party. So it starts out with him like literally having an elephant that he's like bringing to the party. Um, and then this party is just, it's like completely like an orgy party or whatever. And this Maggie girl, she's like completely like a wild child. Like, so she, goes to the party. She tries to get in. She's not really on the guest list. Um, so then she kind of like, she's like, no, she like uses someone else's name to like kind of get into the party. And then this guy who's like the guy who hosted the party, he just like decides to be nice and let her in. Okay, so then she gets into the party and she actually has kind of a great night. So he shows her like this room where all the drugs are. She does some cocaine. She like, she's dancing on tables. She does quite a lot. And then basically there was a girl who was already cast in a movie that they're filming the next day, and this girl overdoses on cocaine. And so the as the party's ending, the this movie producer, he basically says like, okay, girl, to the Maggie girl who completely snuck into this party, you're gonna play this role tomorrow. And he gives her a piece of paper, and then she like steals someone's car and like drives off. And then the guy who's the assistant, so Brad Pitt in this movie plays himself. Basically, he's like a movie star. um and he needs a ride home because it's like 7 in the morning now, the day after the party, and he's just completely drunk. So that assistant drives him back to his mansion. He just does hella funny shit. He like goes to the roof, and then he's like talking to the dude, and he kind of like leans back on his balcony. He just falls off the balcony like into the pool. It's hilarious. Yeah, so he makes this guy his assistant. And that's kind of what's happening. Then you get basically onto the film set, and Brad Pitt is just being a total diva the whole time. And it just kind of shows you how everyone's doing shit for the shot, but then it kind of gets into the kind of demographics of the extras. Like it's sort of a Viking sort of scene, and they basically just grabbed a bunch of crackheads off of Skid Row, put them in Viking outfits, and they actually start fighting. And so there's like real blood and guts and shit. And I guess they just gave them like, it looked like cream of wheat porridge or something for them to like do this fighting scene. The whole thing was nuts, but then like three of the crackheads end up dying during the fighting scene. So it wasn't even like an actual simulation, like because there's like 10 different cameras rolling at different angles while this fighting scene is happening. And then once the fighting scene is over, like three of them are just dead, or they pan in on one of them, and he had actually died. He has like a knife through his heart, which is nuts. And they're like, "Oh, it's fine. Nobody cared about the crackhead anyway." Anyway, so then during this Viking fighting scene, all of the cameras got destroyed. So the director needs that helper guy to go find some more cameras because like they don't have any. So he sends him to go find a camera, and he goes to this like the rental store, and of course he doesn't have all the specs for the exact camera that's needed. It's like, is it a 28 inch or a 29 inch? And that's a whole big distinction that like no one can make. Um, and so he's just like, whatever one is available, I'll take it. So he's like waiting for one person to return it. They're supposed to return in 30 minutes, but they end up returning in like an hour and a half. So the whole production set is on hold because they can't do anything until they actually like have a camera. So they're all waiting for him to come back. He finally comes back with like a camera, but he ended up like stealing an ambulance to get through traffic as fast as he could, which is kind of funny. And then so he ends up getting back. They start the production scene again. And then the Maggie girl, so she's playing this girl who's like dancing on a table or something. And then someone's wife like stomps in because she's like the only girl dancing in this room full of dudes. And so one of those guys' wife walks in, and she's supposed to be really shocked. And then Maggie, the girl Maggie's supposed to be like so ashamed by it. So the whole scene is like her crying, and so the director ends up she has this really big acting moment because the director needs her to like cry on scene, and so they were looking for fake tears and they couldn't find any, but she could actually make herself cry on a spit of a whim. So she's like cry, and then she just ends up crying like 2 seconds later. That's actually really hard to do. You have to be like really in touch with your emotions to be able to really like embody certain characters. Another reason why I really like Angelina Jolie and Winona Ryder, because they played complex characters where we've actually been able to see emotional females on camera. That's something that we haven't actually seen before outside of them. What else? Okay, so then they shoot this shot like over and over and over again. Yeah, they shoot it like, man, like 20 times, and the director's just like, "You're so incredible. I can't believe you actually got this shot to work." And so that was great. That was great. They got the shot. And that this is like her breaking point into acting, and she becomes like a pretty big star just from that small role in the film. And that's where I actually had to leave because I went to go watch Avatar. So yeah, I'm just gonna tell you guys about my opinions on Avatar.